Hey everybody, welcome to the Drunken Cat. My name is Booze Kitty, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite games of all time, DooM. This game was released in 1993 by id Software following their smash hit Wolfenstein and its sequel Spear of Destiny. DooM enjoyed such immense popularity that it would forever change how the public viewed PC gaming for both the hardcore and casual gamers alike. So at this point I should probably start off by mentioning that hardcore PC gamers as we know them now weren't really as much of a thing yet, but DooM helped establish PC gamer culture in the early 90s. Network multiplayer games existed before DooM, sure, and the shooter genre has been around since, I don't know, the pyramids I guess, but DooM really sold it to the average consumer and made it popular. The average PC user at the time didn't have a great need to update their machines for games, but many users bought all new systems just to play DooM. But that's enough history for now. Let's tear DooM open and see what makes its demon heart tick. DooM's gameplay mechanics rested on an incredibly simple but effective premise: get out or be turned inside out. Players were dropped into a series of progressively larger and more complicated levels and had to find keys that opened color-coded doors that eventually, hopefully, led to the way out. Sounds pretty simple, right? Well, unlike shooters made more recently, players had limited ammo, didn't recover health and armor by hiding, so resource management became an integral part of the overall strategy. Most of the enemies in DooM didn't drop ammo either, and in the tougher difficulties, running out of ammunition was a death sentence. The combat in DooM is pretty straightforward. Get as many weapons and as much ammo as you can, and piss it away into loads of enemies and hope your favorite weapon doesn't run dry in the process. And let's be honest, when I say favorite weapon, I mean the shotgun. I would argue that DooM is the game that made the shotgun such a staple in the FPS genre. I don't remember seeing the shotgun anywhere in earlier games at all, and certainly not front and center like DooM had it, but after DooM did it, everybody had one, and they've been in games ever since. Oh, fun fact about the shotgun, the art shown in-game is actually referenced from a plastic toy. DooM featured 5 difficulty modes, from incredibly stupid easy to ridiculously hard. The toughest mode, Nightmare, featured dramatically increased enemy speed and damage, and enemies actually respawn 30 seconds after you killed them. I still haven't completed the entire game in Nightmare mode, and believe me, I have tried. But DooM didn't rest on its single-player campaign only. The multiplayer was pretty robust. It features what is now the standard for the shooter genre, deathmatch, team deathmatch, and even co-op. Of course, by co-op, I mean all your friends play and run around like lunatics, gobbling up all the health and ammo packs in every single level before you get any. Good times. Some of DooM's drawbacks, though, were its lack of mouse look, which made aiming at characters above and below you frustrating at times, as well as the overall lack of maneuver on the part of the player character. I mean, a full-fledged parkour system would have been a bit of a stretch, but you can't even jump or duck. This limits the type of puzzles the players could successfully solve or navigate, as just about everything had to be resolved by simply running real fast, or timing when you were gonna run real fast. Now given, this was typical for the time, so I can't really knock DooM for not having these features, but I think more than anything the lack of these controls and the simplicity of the puzzles really help show the game's age when you play it today. On any difficulty, DooM had a very linear challenge progression, starting the player off slow, fighting zombies with a handgun, and then carefully ramping up the challenge by increasing the number of enemies, the enemy types, and combinations. This made DooM very easy even for a novice to play, and in this regard, the simple control scheme and restricted perspectives made the game quite inviting to new PC gamers. So far as the interface goes, DooM did everything pretty well. To be clear though, the version I'm recording is from Steam, which works on a modern OS via DOSBox. The original was MS-DOS based, so comparatively clunkier to start up. If the term CD backslash rings any bells, you know what I'm talking about. Navigation in Doom is pretty easy and intuitive, if a bit limited. The menus are pretty straightforward, nothing feels out of place, everything's well designed, and getting where you want to go is quick and easy. Some of the drawbacks, though, start to seep in when you observe the lack of in-game video options, and this is really where games like this start to show their age. They were designed for smaller, lower resolution monitors running the game at 640 by 480, and the 32-bit true color graphics don't always scale up terribly well. The HUD interface is pretty great though. Everything is displayed clearly, no explanation is needed for what the symbols and figures mean, and the player can simply look at pretty little pictures or bright yellow numbers and know what they have and what they don't. By today's standards, the giant interface bar with the player profile, big red health numbers, and large picture representations seems kinda clunky, maybe even archaic, but you have to remember this game is almost 25 years old, so for its time this was pretty amazing. And we saw this HUD bar layout continue on all the way through the late 90s. For my money, it wasn't until Half-Life rolled around in 1998 that we saw an end to the solid block HUD for the player. So really you could say that that design had a pretty good run. Doom's controls are exactly what you'd expect in arrow keys or the now standard WASD for movement, a single button for use and a button for sprint, and that's really about it. Doom was incredibly simple so far as movement is concerned. You walk, you open doors, and you shoot things. Players couldn't crouch, jump, or climb anything in Doom, and although this functionality has since been added by modders, I can't actually factor that into a review of the original game, and I've already covered why the limited control of the character had both positive and negative effects on the game, so I won't get into that again. For most old school gamers, the imagery from Doom should be firmly planted in your psyche. The characters are iconic, the visual styling distinct, and the world design was nothing short of inspired. This game was gorgeous, and even today I still boot it up and run around its 32-bit halls. A critical part of Doom's appeal to the masses, though, was definitely the audio. The guns sounded great, the enemy shouts and grunts were fantastic, and it had a killer soundtrack. The music was originally composed by Robert Prince, and every track was distinct and stood on its own, but they all resonated with the game's theming and mood, a sort of dark and gothic, almost oppressive feel blended with heavy metal. Okay, but with all that said, is Doom actually a good game, or is it just nostalgia talking when I froth at the mouth with praise for it? I'm gonna have to say, yeah, it is a good game. It's easy to point out its age and the dated graphics and sound and dismiss classics like these, but without pioneers like Doom, the first-person genre wouldn't be what it is today. It set the stage for bigger and more grandiose titles that would come later, and in fact, until the mid to late 90s, all shooters were referred to as Doom clones, even when they used superior engines. But most importantly, Doom is fun, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters in a game. Games with much bigger budgets and longer production times died on the vine because they weren't fun to play, or were flat out confusing and unintuitive, they weren't memorable to gamers, and they didn't engage people enough to make them wonder what was around that next corner, let alone the next episode. In my book, Doom is a founding father to the shooting genre, and if you have a chance, pick up a copy and play it through. I don't think you'll be sorry you did. And for all the Doom veterans out there, leave a comment below about what your favorite part of Doom was. If you like what you saw here, feel free to hit that subscribe button. The Drunken Cat has more game videos on the way, and if you have a game you'd like to see a review for, please let me know in the comment section. My name is Booze Kitty, and I'll see you back at Spawn.